Hey guys, today I want to talk about families and how they interact with you once you get married, because this is a big thing over here that a lot of guys don't realize, that when you come over here and you marry or you live with a girl over here or whatever you're going to do, that it's totally different than back home in the States. And a lot of guys, they come in with blinders on and they just see the girl and they don't see the family, and they've been talking to them online for 3 to 6 months or maybe a year or maybe even 2 years sometimes. And what happens is they don't realize that the family might have issues like asking for money and stuff like that. And I've been lucky I haven't had this issue. But some of the guys have had a lot of issues like that over here. And I meet some of the guys at the airport sometimes, and sometimes the guys will tell me they're getting married 2 weeks after they get here. And they're flying out to the island. They're going to go get the marriage certificate, and they're going to go do all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, and they say, I know you tell us not to do that. And, but I've talked to this girl for 2 or 3 years and I know she's the one. I'm like, okay, if you say so, buddy, if that's up to you. That's on you. But anyway, what I want to say is this: when you come over here, and I've seen this even in my group here, some of the guys get involved with girls, and the girls' parents or cousins or sisters and brothers start hitting them up for money almost immediately. Now, it's not always the girl's fault, so I don't want you guys thinking that it's the girl. Sometimes it's just the family, and they're very adamant. Even if the girl's telling them no, the family gets very adamant, and they start hitting up for money, that both the girl and the guy. And sometimes they'll even tell the girl that she has to get a job or something like that. We've seen that also. I've heard that on many occasions from some of the guys down south, in Siquijor was one of the places, and I'm not sure. It's all over the Philippines. It has to do with poverty. Poverty-stricken families tend to latch on to any expat that they see their daughter or whatever, or a family member latch on to. They start hitting that person up for money. You got to stop that right away, and you got to start that no. Just learn to say no. If you're gonna hear words like curry pot and stuff like that, or cheap, just let it go. Don't pay any attention to it, because sometimes they'll switch languages and start talking right in front of you about you. That has happened on many occasions too. One of the guys knew Tagalog enough that he knew that they were talking crap about him, and then said something right then and there, and they all looked at each other and like, wow, he knows Tagalog. And that's just part of the culture here. It really is. It's a sad part of the culture here. It's something that you got to kind of learn to live with over here too. And when you're over here and you see that, if it's the girl that's doing it, you might not want to get connected with her, because if she's going to be hitting you up for money afterwards, she's going to hit you up for more money, and it's not a person that you can put in charge of your budget. You want a woman that you can actually trust to put in charge of your budget. And I was lucky in my last relationship that I had a woman I could trust with my budget, and she would take care of everything, and that's a good thing, But also this here, that when you're in with one of these families and you start seeing that, don't blame it on the girls. Sometimes if the girl's telling you she doesn't want to give them any money, they're bugging her too, they're hounding her, you may need to move. Sometimes these people will be calling the person on the phone all the time or whatever, hounding them that way. Just tell her to not answer the phone when they call or whatever for a while, and give them the message. I know that they're her family, but sometimes if it gets really, really bad, you might just want to pick up and move away from the whole thing totally, or just break off with the girl and just not even stay in touch with her anymore, because it might be too much on you. You know what I mean? And just say, hey, look, this isn't working. I don't want to get involved with somebody that's always hitting me up for money constantly, because their dog died, the cat's sick, the brother's sick, the mother's sick, the father's sick, the aunt died, whatever. And that's the way it is in a lot of these families. You got to kind of be careful of that, and you need to learn to take care of yourself over here in your family. And in our group, we have a really good group of people here, because a lot of the guys here donate to charities, and they help families that really, really do need it. And you're going to know when a family really needs it. And if the family really needs it and you do want to help, just be careful that you don't get sucked in so you're constantly helping. Do it once in a while, so that they learn to go someplace else to ask for that money too, and just tell them, say, look, I wish I could help you more, but I really can't help you any more than what I'm helping you now. That's the most I can give you. And keep it at smaller amounts. Don't be giving out huge amounts of money, because otherwise they're going to look at you and they're going to tell the other family members, hey, guess what? I just got some money off of him, and if you need some money, go ask him because he'll help you. And the word will get out on you, and it'll be worse for you later. But, be careful, because I'd hate to see you guys become human ATMs over here. And if there's one thing I can talk to you guys about and teach you about is that there. And I think almost any of the guys that have been over here for a while that date will tell you that that's a major problem over here. Because a lot of the guys that come over here think that, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over and I'm going to marry the first girl because Filipino girls are different. They're sweeter, they're kinder, they're not going to rip me off. And or they're not going to be like American women. They have their own set of problems over here. And they're different problems, different than American girl problems, and that's the thing over here is that's what you don't want. You don't want those sets of problems. And when you get over here and you start dating, you're going to learn all the sets of problems that they have. And these guys that come over here and get married in 2 weeks, they didn't have time to see that, because it's only when you're with them that you're going to see that. You're not going to see it when you're talking to them on Messenger or FaceTime or what have you. You're not going to see that. And that's the tough part, because when you get over here and you marry the girl, then all of a sudden you're like, man, I think I made a mistake. And a lot of these guys are bringing these girls back. We had one guy from Texas. I think he just recently passed away, and he had a girl that was way younger than him, and they had a kid almost immediately when they got back in the States. As soon as she had the kid, she left. And it probably made it really hard on him. And in fact, it may have even contributed to the fact that he had passed away, because that's a lot of stress on an older guy when you're going through losing your family, losing your girlfriend and your kid at the same time, because they can make it very tough on you, some of these girls, especially if you have a kid involved. So I wanted to talk about that today because of the fact that a lot of you guys are older, and when you go through these breakups, you may have been single for 10 or 20 years or something like that, and now you think, oh, I want to get back into the game, I want to marry a nice Filipina girl. But you don't think about the tough things that you have to go through if you do have to go through another divorce or a breakup or what have you. It can be really rough over here going through a divorce or a breakup, because you have to go back to the States to get your divorce, number one. You can only get an annulment over here. And even breakups are tough over here sometimes, especially if you have a child or anything, or you grew to love the kids or what have you, or the family, it can be really rough. But anyway, guys, I wanted to talk about that today because it's something all you guys that are back home that haven't been over here much and you don't know much about Filipinas, you need to learn that. Some of the guys over here go through like 20, 30, 40 women sometimes before they find somebody decent, because sometimes it's hard finding a good woman over here. It really is hard finding a good woman over here. And when you do find one, usually they're phenomenal women. I've seen so many decent women over here, but you gotta look, and they'll be kind to you and nice to you, and they're beautiful and stuff. And a lot of guys get caught up in the beauty of the woman before they look at the mind and the personality of the woman. They're all caught up in that, and that's not a good thing for you. To get caught up in the beauty. Take time with the woman, spend some time with her, date. Don't get married right away. If you have to live with them for a while so you get to know the woman or whatever, and then after that you'll get a feel for what she's like, and if she's halfway decent or not. For you guys that are jumping in, the only thing I can do is warn you and tell you, and once you make that mistake, I think you'll find out on your own that it takes a while to get to know these people. And a lot of guys that come over here, a lot of them I notice they've maybe been married once or twice. They've had some problems with relationships in the past, and you got to kind of figure out whether you are part of the problem or if it's them that's the problem. And a lot of guys think that it's always the woman, and sometimes it could be you too. So be careful. Make sure that that you don't have any problems. So a lot of guys don't want to think that they have the problems, but they do. Let's be realistic. A lot of guys that come over here, they bring a lot of baggage with them, and they open that baggage up over here because they don't leave it home, and they don't get therapy before they come here. Some guys need some therapy. You can see it when they get here, when they get off the plane. It's like, wow, this guy's a mess. you know, and he's coming over here and he's going to open up that baggage over here, and it's all that psychological baggage is just going to jump out, and it's going to affect him in his relationships. And, you know, that's why we talk about that so much on this channel, because it's important that you realize that we're not all perfect either. But some of the guys come over here and they're looking for perfection in every woman. And if you're looking for perfection, you're in the wrong place. Because Filipinos are no more perfect than any other country. They're really not. I mean, they have their own set of problems that are different than Americans or Canadians or Europeans or whatever. Even we have our own set of problems, you know, and Filipinos have their set of problems. I would say that Filipinos overall are a better catch if you're looking to get married overall, or to have a life partner or whatever, if you find the right one. There's can be some beautiful women from some of the islands out there that are really wonderful. Even in Manila, there's a lot of wonderful people here. But anyway, guys, God bless. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's show.